Hello, fabulous superstar Aries. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of June 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, it's a very special time, and it truly is. We have this month's new moon on the 6th of the month, taking place in a communicative part of your sky, having to do with being able to express, to share, to be spontaneous, to be aware of synchronicities, of being in the right place at the right time, connecting with the right person. And it really can make all the difference for you now. The siblings, cousins, and neighbors in your life are covered by this part of the sky as well. Now, part of what makes this new moon distinct is how it's speaking to other power players. One of the most notable ways is that the new moon is right there in the sky, hand in hand with Venus. And so for you, this is about seeing, quite literally perceiving your life and others through a lens of love, with eyes of love. It's about having an understanding or a conversation that feels restorative, and how it reminds you of the love that is there and the love that has yet to grow and to be. This is a new moon after all, and it represents a new beginning. But what we also get is Mercury not too far away, emphasizing the communicative energy of this time. We also get the fact that Saturn is speaking in a conversation of tension with this new moon. That is a little tricky, but to me, that represents wanting to make the most of this moment and looking within yourself for your own integrity. What we also have is this new moon speaking in harmony with Chiron in your sign. That brings a lot of healing vibes in. If anybody is going to have a conversation that feels like it heals something very deep within you, it very likely is going to be you. It may or may not be with these siblings, cousins, and neighbors, but it might be about them or not. But it is in the act of putting things into words that you find tremendous progress and healing. But getting to that point might be a little hard. Saturn is square this new moon. And that brings with it something within you, a restlessness and uncertainty and insecurity that might feel like it's there, but you can't quite identify what it's about, what's really going on. Remember, it may feel as if you are afraid to say the wrong thing, but where it is you're being honest in a space where you feel safe to be so, well, this can be one of those moments that helps you to feel that much more supported and encouraged, especially at this time where you allow safety to dominate. Love itself can grow. That includes self-love at this time as well. But it's also the lead up to this new moon that is especially intriguing. Late last month, Jupiter changed signs, moving into this communicative part of the sky for you, as I've been speaking about here on my YouTube channel and on my website, nadiyashah.com. This is all about expanding your mind, helping you to realize how much you have to say, how wonderfully you could say it, how influential you can be. What is taking place over the course of the 3rd and 4th day of this month, so in the dark of the moon, is that we are going to have one of the more important moments of the year. And it is a moment of power and purpose. And that is when we are going to have Jupiter speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. A very special energy. It happens about twice every 14 years or so. So it is rare. And when it happens, this supremely harmonious energy lining up represents real progress and growth and some power move that you could just knock out of the park. Now add this in as well. Mercury is in the mix, hand in hand with Jupiter, also speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. And the communicative element of this time, but also the synchronistic element of this time for you is that much more heightened. You being in the right place at the right time could have you making a pitch of sorts that ends up being tremendously consequential for you, where you're able to make that pitch and knock it out of the park, right? Metaphorically speaking, but really this is about being able to recognize a moment, running with it with enthusiasm and sincerity and a certain responsiveness, a quickness that can have you feeling as if you're securing some gain that matters to you. Like I said, you are tremendously influential over the course of this larger year-long transit, but especially in the first days of this month. Your ability to influence others, to influence outcomes in a direction you desire to go is so strong now that you want to decide with intent what conversations are worth having and what aren't. And where they're worth having, give your all to them with the absolute belief that things can go wonderfully your way, because they really can. The 22nd of the month features this month's full moon, and this full moon is happening at the top of your sky. But this energy is special for a few reasons. Now, normally, there's something that we societally, culturally call a blue moon. And that could be considered a few different things. So some people consider a blue moon to be when we have 2 full moons over the course of a singular calendar month. But in addition to that, especially for astrologers, we will sometimes call the phenomenon of 2 full moons back to back, 28.5 days apart, in the same sign. Because normally you get 1 full moon per sign per year. But then you have moments like this, the first of 2 full moons at the top of your sky. This one happens at the very beginning of this part of the sky. The next one that happens next month will officially be called the blue moon. And that'll happen at the very end of this part of the sky. And this becomes important for a few reasons. One is it represents a journey. As much as full moons bring with them culmination and conclusions and emotional clarity, because the full moon is at the very beginning of its respective sign, it also comes hand in hand with some type of a beginning for you as well. There is another layer operational here as well, and that is just what this particular full moon is doing in and of itself. And this full moon is speaking in supreme harmony with Mars, which is energizing, and it is your ruling planet. So again, we have important lunar phenomenon that's speaking to something more personal for you. Whereas the new moon early in the month was speaking in harmony with Chiron in your sign, this is now your ruling planet, which at this point will have just moved into a brand new part of your sky. Part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem. This full moon energy brings together an understanding of prosperity, but also success as you uniquely define it. Venus and Mercury are standing across the sky from this full moon. So there may be a sense of perhaps not having as big of a windfall as you'd hope. Maybe feeling as if as a result of a key communication or interaction with another person, a one-on-one exchange, it ends up being an important turning point for you, where you realize that perhaps certain chapters, where it comes to your understanding of what is worth achieving and what isn't, well, certain chapters may feel like they've culminated, they've served their purpose, but new chapters are opening up as well. Conversations might give you reason for hope, but ultimately your greatest empowerment is going to be found within the energy and the determination that you feel to move forward. And even if you don't know exactly what all those new pathways are just yet, you're feeling excited about that prospect. The fact that Saturn officially goes retrograde 1 week after the full moon does suggest that at a time when the overall energies are waning, you're finding strength within. There may be an inner restlessness with you now. Maybe things aren't changing as quickly as you might like. And yet there is power in being willing to stop and be still. As much as Saturn says, act, go forward, do something, do anything, there's going to be a part of you that has an understanding at the same time that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is seek to be honest with yourself. Seek to make choices from a place of being at peace within yourself. That is part of the purpose and the strength of this time. And ultimately, it is self-honesty that's going to be the most grounding force in your life now. Now, where it comes to matters of love, I'm going back to that new moon energy, because that new moon is hand in hand with Venus, goddess of love. The sun is hand in hand with Venus, goddess of love, at the same time. And so as much as that energy is about mind and what's being said, love is such a huge part of what feels like it's giving new perspectives and new beginnings for you now. For those of you open to meeting someone new, you might end up in a very casual, off-the-cuff kind of conversation with somebody, maybe online or in person, but it does have real potential for a romantic connection to transpire there. Remember, it is connections that start off from mind, from friendship, from a sense of informality, that end up having the most potential to become something more. For those of you just starting to date someone, what is it that needs to be said? What is it that's been hard to say or maybe hard to hear? A lot of these energies say cards on the table, really as a result of having an important conversation, but there's so much sweetness to it and the potential of love there, that it tells me that whatever it is that's being discussed has the potential to ultimately bring you closer to this person, or at least help you to understand who they are, where they're at, and if it doesn't work for you, to find loving ways to go in another direction. There's an ease and softness at this time that can make it that much easier to listen, to understand, and to share from a place where ultimately people aren't taking anything too personally. Enough so at least you can decide whether or not you think there's a pathway forward with them. And for those of you in an established bond, this is one of those moments where it is that much easier to talk about things that otherwise can feel quite challenging. This is true not only because of Venus and the new moon that we've been talking about, but of course because of Jupiter and Mercury and all that incredible energy speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, right? You add all of these factors together, this party in a mind and communicative part of your sky. If ever there was energy that said a new understanding is possible, this is a strong indicator of that. For those of you who have a great relationship, by talking things through, you feel that much closer. For those of you who've had questions as to whether or not you're in the right relationship for you, it is through conversation and communication that you're able to figure out which it is for you, as part of figuring out the next best steps for you, but also communicating them in a way that can be understood by you and the other person. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say, well, I love the energies right out of the gate. The new moon and Jupiter speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, Mercury in the mix. Yeah, there's a party going on in a mind and communication part of your sky. A lot of those energies could suggest good news related to a sibling, cousin, or neighbor that might not have anything to do with you directly, but you're happy for them. But of course, this could be just good news all around for you. That letter coming through, you finally getting that email, you receive the information that ends up bringing sheer delight and truly transformative circumstances, helping you to feel like life can move forward in a direction that feels right for you. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership Rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.